Hi class, welcome again to another session on biomaterials. So we have been discussing polymeric implant materials, which is a third unit. So far we have discussed polymerization and types of polymers. So today we shall discuss another way of classification of polymers, which is biodegradable and or natural and synthetic polymers. Some of them are biodegradable, some of them are non-biodegradable. So we shall see them all in detail today. So polymers as biomaterials are very popular because of their functional properties, because of their surface modifiability, because of the ease with which we can sterilize a polymer, and the design flexibility. So functional properties of a polymer quite often resemble that of a biological tissue, and that's why they are ideal to replace a biological tissue. Surface modifiability, you can make the surface of a polymer smooth if you want to, very smooth if you want to, or you can make it you can have bumps around the polymer as well, depending upon your application. And sterilization is very easy with polymers, in the sense that they are highly sterilizable. They do not modify their properties if they are subjected to heat. And then design flexibility, in the sense that you have wide range of methods by which you can get a more closely resembling biological organ when compared with other material. Like for example, what I'm trying to say is you can melt polymers, put them in a scaffold, and get a desired shape much easier when compared with metals or ceramics. So a number of polymeric materials have been used as biomaterials. So most of them, they're either natural or synthetic. So natural polymers are either chitosan, gelatin or collagen. And then synthetic polymers, you have quite a long quite a long list. So you have PET, PMMA and polyethylene. So there's an error here. These are non-biodegradable is something that I have claimed. However, it's not necessary that these are non-biodegradable. Synthetic polymers can be biodegradable as well. So I apologize for that error. So naturally derived polymers are produced by natural or biological systems, for example microorganisms or plants or animals. So they can also be chemically synthesized from natural products such as starch, fat, oils and sugar. So natural polymers are definitely biodegradable, and the rate of degradation varies from days to months depending upon the type of polymer you are choosing. So through minor modifications, these polymers can be tailor-made for a specific function. So this minor modification can be heat therapy, or it can be some chemical reaction that you're doing. It is not changing the polymer as such, but introduction of a small chemical or introduction of a small portion of the chemical is actually like enhancing the function of the polymer, which is like more closely resembling our desired function, or our desired organ, or our desired cell. So widely used natural polymers for biomedical application are collagen, chitosan and gelatin. So we shall discuss these now. So collagen is very popular in tissue engineering, as it is biodegradable and biocompatible, and its major constituent is similar to and it forms major constituent of your extracellular matrix. And collagen also facilitates tissue regeneration, because naturally human body's got quite a lot of collagen. So if there is an injury, or if there is a place where healing is required, so introduction of extra collagen from outside is not going to cause you much harm. Collagen are of two types. Oh god, there's quite a lot of error in this, and I do not like this. So collagen are of basically two types, type 1 and type 3. So type 1 collagen has got two chains of alpha 1 and one chain of alpha 2 protein with a fiber diameter of around 50 nanometers. And type 3 has got three chains of alpha 1 protein with a fiber diameter ranging between 30 nanometers and 130 nanometers. So basically the composition of collagen has three polypeptides. So you have glycine, hydroxyproline, and you either have alanine or proline. So it forms if you imagine the Watson and Crick model of DNA, so you have the double helical structure, right? So instead of 2 chains, you have 3 chains which are like coiled up together to form a helical structure. So it is like having 3 strands of thread and trying to wind them together and make a rope out of them. So this is how a collagen molecule will look like in the microscope. So you have the proline, hydroxyproline and glycine. So all these 3 molecules, they are wound up together to form triple helix, and this is usually left-handed triple helix structure. Next one is gelatin. So gelatin is formed by denaturing collagen, and this denaturization can occur either through acidic or alkaline process. So if it is acidic process through which denaturization of collagen has occurred, then you get gelatin A, and if alkali has been used, then you get gelatin B. So gelatin B has got higher carboxylic group when compared with gelatin A. And generally gelatin are very biocompatible, but they are biosorbable, they're non-toxic and non-immunogenic. Non-toxic we all know because gelatin is commonly used in food. And then they are also non-antigenic. They have no antigenic effect and have a low coagulation activity towards platelets. So they are highly hemocompatible, and that's why they are like very popular as a biomaterial. Now finally we have chitosan. So it is a polysaccharide derived by alkaline deacetylation of chitin. So chitin, it is derived from exoskeleton of shellfish. So how do we do that? The procedure is of 2 steps. Then first is deproteinization of the cell using diluted sodium hydroxide, and then decalcification using diluted HCl. So you take diluted sodium hydroxide and put the exoskeleton of the shellfish in it, and that would actually deproteinize the shell. And then after that, take out the shell from NaOH, and then put it in diluted HCl, and that will decalcify the shell, and you'll get chitin. One of my students also said that these are present in cell walls of fungi. So I think that you can also like extract chitin from fungi. So I mean I haven't explored it, but if you get a chance to explore it, then please do so and let me know. So they are chemically similar to a component called as, or let me see if I can pronunciate this correctly. So they are chemically similar to glycosaminoglycans, which are present in tissues. So these all collagen, gelatin, and chitin or chitosan are available in our body readily. So that's why biocompatibility is not an issue at all. So chitin is also readily modified by covalent attachment of molecules with free carboxylic acid using carbodiamides. So they are like very attracted towards the molecules, and they can easily form covalent bonding, which makes them really good binder, really good adhesive. So they have good plastic and adhesive properties, and therefore they are very commonly used as binders. And if you want a biomaterial that is that has good binding properties, then chitosan is your ideal choice. I hope you had a fruitful session learning about naturally occurring polymers with me. I shall see you again soon in another video. Till then, take care.